I read an article by Dan Sullivan and I loved every bit of it. That's the guy with Strategic Coach. What's interesting about it is the parallel that he's drawn between dog ownership and technology ownership. And what's interesting about it is everyone is ramping and raving about AI, technology, and all these things. And it's interesting, it's so interesting when you think about what happens to the quality of what you get back in a relationship with an animal, with a pet. And what's interesting about it is it's not just dogs, but that's just a great parallel because dogs are something that man created. So the fact is this, you want to be great at this stuff and making sure that you can master and improve and create these automations. You want to take it as if it's like a relationship you have with your pet. If you're a pet owner, I haven't owned a pet in years, but when I did, it was vital that first off, I let them know who was boss. I did not let that pet take over. And I know that there are many pet owners that do, but here's the deal. These things related to technology, if you don't take ownership right away, everything's gonna always be the responsibility of the technology, which means you're gonna wanna throw it out the door, punch the computer screen, and really hurt something. So what you wanna do is get used to it. If you wanna have the proper ownership, it starts inside. Who are you? Do you like you? I had the great privilege of growing up in a large family, and my parents liked me, so it was very easy for me to like me. That was a great start for me. So it didn't take long to become comfortable in my own skin. Now, I know that's not everyone's story, but to get on top of this technology, you're still gonna have to own it. And here's some great ways you can do it. Why don't you learn exactly why you're here? And in order to do that, what are your skills? What are the strengths that you bring to the table? What are your values? Who are you? Do you just repeat everything you hear, see on Facebook or whatever? Don't do that. Take it to a whole other level and step into it. So how do you do that? Understand from the very beginning, what is the usefulness that you'll have with the technology? Scary thing is, if you have a dog that you do not maintain that control and ownership of, they will actually own you. And every time you're in the middle of something, the dog's in your face, they're doing this, they're jumping on your friends, they're jumping on the couch, they're taking the food out of the refrigerator, they're doing all kinds of things because you have not decided to own it. And I love this, but you can own it. What you can do is take your time. And there are several key things that's so interesting of the parallel. Some of you are working with BART, ChatGPT, and other platforms for AI. It's so funny that it gets down to it, you want to use negative reinforcement, and that doesn't work. It can't compute it. Dogs are similar. You know, there are times you want to kick the dog or do things like that. They don't know what it's about. Dogs are so amazing in that they can read your expression without expression on your face. They have great senses. You know how a dog can smell another dog in heat over 5 miles away? With different studies, they've seen it. They've noted that when a owner who has a great relationship with their dog is leaving work, they're getting ready, the dog starts wagging its tail, gets excited. When the owner gets within the neighborhood and or in the direction coming closer and closer to the house, the dog gets closer and goes by the door. And sometimes they'll go sit there until they get there. It's the wildest thing. It's not because of what time it is, because they sense it. Here's what happens when you get on your computer. With AI specifically, it's a large language model. It's learning you. And as it learns your passivity, or it learns the fact that you're not clear in what you're asking, it creates confusion. Therefore, it rambles. Some of you have stated, hey, AI goes all over the place, it gives you the craziest stuff back. Yes, it will, every time, because you'll give it crazy stuff. So you can narrow this stuff down. We talk about this in Automation Academy, but there are things you can do to step up the plate to get amazing results back, just like having a pet. And what's amazing about it? It'll do what you want it to do. What you take the time to ensure it will give you back. And how do you do that? You break it down, you create clarity. But I'm gonna tell you now, it'll promote you or expose you. If you are lazy, if you do not like to actually take your time to work towards the result you want, you will be exposed. But if you do, oh my goodness, it's amazing what can happen for you. So whether you are working on creating content, or you are working on automating processes that usually take up a lot of time and a lot of human capital, you can put that in place. That's right, and the AI will be happy to do it for you. But it doesn't come from cutting corners, just like raising a pet or owning a pet does. I think it's funny, I think about my first dog. My wife and I, we would always get a Keith, those big dogs. And they're so loyal, they're so good with the kids and all those things. And I remember like yesterday, people say, man, why is your dog so good? It just sits there. It does it comes when you call it. It doesn't run away when you're walking. And it was so funny. It's not because they were special dogs. It's because it was established early on their role. A dog wants to be useful. Your technology wants to be useful. A dog wants to find ways to please you and give you what you're looking for. So does the technology. But if you're not clear, they can't do that. And what's really frightening, I saw in that article that a dog without ownership is quite scary. Dogs should either be owned or a part of a pack, and if it is not, it's quite dangerous. It's interesting as we move these parallels over into our lives of human beings. What happens when a child's left to himself without the proper engagement, the proper reinforcement so that it can give back and find out why it's here and what it's doing? Isn't it shameful that as Americans, we've got pulled into following bandwagons and movements and political structures so much that the individuals don't matter so much? Everything matters if it's related to economics and growing your money, but then again, the relationship takes a back seat. We've become predominantly transactional and non-relational, and therefore, when it comes to AI, we're crippled, we're handicapped, we have no ability to do what we ought to do, and you can. And I'm gonna tell you something. Identify your usability. What are your strengths and your gifts? Put the work in to find out. There are many books out there, there are other ways to find out, but you wanna find that out so that you can like it. Then once you know that usability, then you find out now, how can I use technology when you use it to enhance and make my usability that much more efficient? And what I love and can really share with you with great joy is that when it comes to narrowing these things down, you don't have to have technology 24/7. When you're with someone, you can be with them because it's not owning you. See, when technology owns you, you can't wait. Every time it rings or you look, you're constantly with your face in your phones and your screens. You don't have to do that. Gain control. Live your life on purpose, and then don't worry, you won't be fearing technology and AI. You will have no doubt that you are the owner of your domain. Now, you can do this, every one of you watching this. You can do this, so step into it. Step up. If you know nothing about technology, just understand that if you do get involved with it, do insist that you will not be owned. And therefore, it's going to improve your locus of control. It'll be more internal than external. If you have an external locus of control, everything that happens for you, with you, to you is always the responsibility of something or someone else. It's your computer's fault, it's the government's fault, it's this person's fault. Never do you own any of that responsibility. When you have a high locus of control and it's internal, what happens is you go ahead and work inward to provide and to produce that outward result, that outward outcome. You can do it. So, what are you waiting for? I wanted to give you guys this in the community and tell you, you can certainly just, as you're going through Automation Academy, think about this. You're not trying to get a quick fix and a Band-Aid. You want to ride the waves and improve your quality of life by gaining more time to live it on purpose and not be attached to all the technology. How are you going to do that? Automate as much as you can. Remember, automation works like this. There are things that work on your behalf that you're not even conscious of because you do it subconsciously. There are things that you have no recollection, no involvement in, like the pumping of your heart, your respirations, all the other different millions of systems you have in your body. You have nothing to do with that. They're happening in automation. When you take those things and put into your technology and your business, you can begin to have things that you do on purpose. You can grow every day in ways that you wouldn't have had time for. But when it's reversed, and you don't own, you possess those things, but they own you, you're not going to win that battle. Whether you're trying to grow a business or enhance your quality of life and your hobbies, you will not win that battle. So, you want life to slow down and not move so fast? Take ownership, get it back. You determine what's going on in your schedule. You determine if you're going to watch something or not. You determine if you're going to listen to something or not. And most of all, do not just randomly surf around looking for something, because that is an accident waiting to happen. As human beings, we were not created to just randomly look around. We are the only form of life that can not just create, but we can own. No other species can own. We can possess. And in those possessions, we can actually be sure that we will be great stewards of it and own them and not allow them to own us, whether it's technology, whether it's any other form or being. We can take greater control so that we can be great stewards and make the world a better place. Are you ready for it? I am. So we'll see you as you're getting through some of these things in the Academy. I want you to rest assured that it begins and ends with you. Ready to go? Let's do it.